Broadcasters in legal bind over reporting on Tory crisis during election. South Africa Parliament elects ANC's Ramaphosa as president. Zimbabwean former First Lady Grace Mugabe accused of assaulting domestic worker. Eswatini angered by royal order polygamy story. Schwarzenegger resurrects the debate. Africa is not a country. 102-year-old woman suspected of care home murder in France. South Africa's youngest legislator sworn into office. FIFA maintains 32 teams for 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Football coach Bob Higgins guilty of abusing trainings. John Terry in talks to become new Middlesbrough manager. Manchester City are close to signing Portuguese fullback João Cancelo. Atletico Madrid and Napoli want Tottenham defender Kieran Trippier. Newcastle slapped a not-for-sale tag on Sean Longstaff. Helen, welcome to RWTV News with me, Veronica Obadara. Furious British voters have branded the government liars for deceiving Britons, with the UK heading to the polls for the European elections. Prime Minister Theresa May is on the brink of resigning following a furious backlash from her own MPs this week after she set out her new Brexit plan. On Thursday, British voters were forced to head back to the polls for the European elections, despite the Prime Minister repeatedly saying over the past 2 years the UK would be leaving on March 29. The Brexit Party are expected to secure more than a third of the vote at the European elections, according to the latest polls, with the Conservative Party likely to see huge losses. Attempts by Conservative MPs to remove Theresa May from office during the European elections are causing problems for British broadcasters, which are struggling to work out what developments they are legally allowed to report about the Prime Minister's seemingly doomed premiership. The UK's strict broadcasting laws place tight restrictions on coverage of politics by TV and radio stations during election periods, with the rules becoming tighter once polls open. Traditionally, this means broadcasters can only provide bland news coverage on election days, reporting little more than statements about people turning out to vote in order to avoid inadvertently swaying voters. However, the unusual situation of a cabinet minister resigning on the eve of a national vote and an apparent attempt to remove May has challenged the implementation of these rules, with broadcasters trying to work out how to legally report on a story of national importance. Meanwhile, ministers expect Theresa May to reveal number 10 departure date this Friday. Sources say they expect the Prime Minister to give a timetable for her successor to be chosen, with 10 June likely to be the start of the official leadership race. Parents are praising a Rhode Island bus driver for safely evacuating students before their school bus caught fire on Wednesday afternoon. 5 students from Mount St. Charles Academy were on their way home when the Valley Transport bus suddenly felt warm. The driver, quick thinking, immediately pulled over and instructed the kids to get out. Within minutes, the smoke turned to huge flames. No one was hurt. Some of the students were taken to Bellingham Police to be picked up by their parents. According to the Bellingham fire chief, there is too much damage to determine what exactly caused the engine fire. Kudos to the quick-thinking driver. Now, Cyril Ramaphosa of the ruling African National Congress, ANC, duly elected by South Africa's parliament to retain the office of the president. Ramaphosa was widely expected to be retained as president by the 400 lawmakers in Parliament's National Assembly lower house, where his party holds the majority. The ANC easily won South Africa's May 8 general election, but its vote share fell to a post-apartheid low, reflecting anger at corruption and racial inequality still entrenched a generation since the former liberation movement took power. South Africa's youngest legislator is set to be sworn into office as members of the National Council of Provinces, NCOP, the upper house of parliament, take their seats. The 21-year-old Itumeleng Nsube belongs to the ruling African National Congress, ANC, from Boshabelo in the Free State Province. The province, which has its capital at Bloemfontein, also serves as South Africa's judicial capital. Nsube was accredited by the parliament during a May 21 orientation in Cape Town, the legislative capital. He enrolled in university last year and is studying towards a degree in education. To allow him to undertake his new role, he said he would move to a university in Cape Town to continue with his studies. Grace Mugabe, the wife of former Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe, is facing a new court case in her country, filed by a former employee who accused Grace of hitting her. The case dates to March 2017, a few months before the end of the reign of Robert Mugabe in Zimbabwe. In a statement filed in a court in the capital, Harare, Shupikai Chirudza, who worked for the presidential couple in their private residence, claims to have been violently assaulted by the former First Lady. Grace Mugabe, 53, is said to have become enraged that her 95-year-old husband gave the housekeeper a cash wedding gift. The servant was dismissed the following May. Shupikai Chirudza's lawyer told AFP on Tuesday that the complaint had been filed for unfair dismissal. Grace Mugabe, sometimes known as Gucci Grace, is already wanted in South Africa on separate charges of attacking South African model Gabriela Angels at an hotel in Johannesburg, August 2017. The government of Eswatini on Tuesday angrily denied a viral online report that King Mswati III, Africa's last absolute monarch, who has 14 wives, had ordered men to have at least 2 marriages or face jail. The story, carried by the Zambian Observer and picked up by several other online publications, said that Swazi men will have to marry several wives starting from June. King Mswati has 14 wives and more than 25 children. Statistics indicate, however, that 63% of the citizens in the kingdom, formerly known as Swaziland, live in poverty. Africans over the weekend called out American entertainment magazine TMZ for reporting that Arnold Schwarzenegger had been attacked in Africa, rather than specifying that the widely reported incident happened in South Africa. A video of a man striking the actor and former California governor at a sports event in South Africa on Saturday was shared online, prompting Schwarzenegger to reassure his fans. "There's nothing to worry about. I thought I was just jostled by the crowd, which happens a lot," the star of the Terminator films wrote on Twitter, and thanking fans for their concern. This is not the first time that Africans have called out Western media and sometimes celebrities for failing to distinguish between specific countries on the continent. And we love to use this opportunity to say Africa is a continent and not a country. A 102-year-old woman is suspected of having murdered her 92-year-old neighbor in a French retirement home. The suspected killer is now in a psychiatric hospital. Earlier, she told one of the carers that she had killed someone, a prosecutor said. A carer at the home in Chezy-sur-Marne, northern France, found the victim dead in bed, her face severely bruised. The cause of death was strangulation and blows to the head, a postmortem examination concluded. The death was discovered just after midnight on Saturday by a carer who found the victim lying in bed unconscious. Quoting the prosecutor, AFP news agency reported that the 102-year-old was in a very agitated state, confused, and told the carer that she had killed someone. Psychiatric tests are being done on the suspect to determine whether she was criminally responsible for her actions at the time. And now, sports. The world's football governing body, FIFA, took a decision to maintain 32 teams at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, rejecting President Gianni Infantino's proposal to expand the tournament to future 48 teams. FIFA said it had abandoned the expansion plans following a thorough and comprehensive consultation process, which led to the conclusion that under the current circumstances, such a proposal could not be made now. FIFA said in a statement, the tournament will therefore remain as originally planned with 32 teams, and no proposal will be submitted at the next FIFA Congress on 5th June. Former England and Chelsea captain John Terry, the current Aston Villa assistant boss, is in talks with Middlesbrough about becoming their new manager. Manchester City are close to signing 24-year-old Portuguese fullback João Cancelo, who is valued at €60 million by his club, Juventus. Kieran Trippier is set to find himself at the center of a tug-of-war between Atletico Madrid and Napoli. Both clubs are interested in the England right-back, for whom Spurs boss Mauricio Pochettino is willing to listen to offers this summer. Trippier helped England to the semi-finals of the World Cup last year and has been a regular for Spurs for the past 18 months. Newcastle United will offer 21-year-old Sean Longstaff, who has been linked with Manchester United, a new deal to keep the English midfielder at the club. Newcastle have slapped a not-for-sale tag on hot prospect Sean Longstaff in a bid to fend off interest from Manchester United. A former youth football coach who held supreme power over the futures of budding players has been found guilty of indecently assaulting boys. Bob Higgins sexually touched and groped 24 victims, most of them trainees at Southampton Football Club and Peterborough United between 1971 and 1996. Bournemouth Crown Court heard his status as a godlike figure enabled his decades-long campaign of abuse. A jury found him guilty of 45 counts of indecent assault. During Higgins' trial, prosecutors told the court the defendant was idolized by trainees who viewed him as a mentor and father figure. And that was RWTV News. Remember to download our TV app, RWTV Network, via Google Play. Email your press release to tim@rwtvnetwork.net. Our social media handles, Facebook at Rich World TV Network, YouTube, RWTV Network, Instagram at Rich World TV Network, and our Twitter handle at Television Reach. This is Veronica Obadara. Thank you for staying with us.